Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. So today we were going to do the questions based on the talk Power of Thoughts. I believe you have sent in some questions. Let us start with that. Everybody here has attended the Power of Thoughts, right? I mean, you know what the background is. So, all right. So can we see the... So Kavita Sood, are you here, Kavita? Kavita, are you there? If so, can you switch on your video? Okay. iPad is Kavita. Okay. Can you switch on your video so I can speak to you? I mean, if it's a problem, it's fine, but it's always nice to have a person to speak to.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay. How do we control our vasanas, inherent nature, that may lead us to wrong thoughts and consequently wrong actions? Firstly, there are no wrong vasanas. There's no such thing. There are no, vasana means inherent nature, right? You are rightly. Vasana in Indian languages sometimes means bad thoughts, or, you know, sort of some, they imply something negative. But vasana, philosophically, there's nothing wrong with it. There is no, in fact, there is no such thing as, there is no such thing as wrong vasanas. Now, what leads us to wrong thoughts is not the vasanas, but our incapacity to direct those to a positive end. Okay, so any vasana you may have in this world, you can use it positively or use it negatively. Suppose you're a very parsimonious person. Okay, so if you don't use it positively, it will become like you're stingy, miserly. Okay, the same parsimonious attitude can be used for wealth creation. So what you do with those thoughts, or how you direct those thoughts, are what is important. There is no negative thing. Okay, so why does it lead us to wrong thoughts? Because they're not directed. And obviously you already understand that wrong thoughts lead to wrong actions. Okay, Kavita?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. This helps.
Okay. And then second, you have a second question. This visual is looking different. Has somebody changed? Manish, have you changed something? Why is it looking so diffused? Is it looking diffused to y'all or only to me?
Seems all right.
Seems okay? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Will you put the question back? If the desires of two people in close relations clash or interrupt, how can then one resolve such conflicts? More so if one of the persons is not in readiness to take the knowledge of Vedanta. It really gets tricky when there's a clash in the values that two people uphold. Is it then okay to withdraw oneself, waiting for the other person to learn in due course of time? as there's a threshold for any person to keep attempting to make the other person understand that difference in opinions and value systems need to be respected and can't be imposed upon. One person in the relationship is dictatorial and wants things his way, lest he loses all control, doesn't respect any boundaries. So, Kavita, your question is not if the desires of two people in close relationships clash or interrupt. That's not the question. The question is on your last line is what I'm thinking, that someone has to deal with a dictatorial person who wants things to always go his way. And how do you deal with such a person? I think that's your question, right? Is that correct?
That's right, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. So we don't have to always put it in Vedantic language, then we struggle to do that. So it's just fine to say, how do you deal with a dictatorial person? How do you deal with a dictatorial person is, as in all things, with your intellect. If whatever he is dictating is suitable and correct, then do it. If whatever he is dictating is not suitable and correct, then you will have to find a way of circumventing his dictatorialness. Now you may say, how do I circumvent somebody's dictatorialness? It's very difficult to say without actual examples, but one example in the scriptures, which you may like to at some point look at, is the relationship between Krishna and Balaram. Krishna has an intellect. Balaram doesn't have an intellect. Balaram is the elder brother. Okay, and he always wants Krishna to do whatever he wants. Now, how does Krishna deal with this situation? Because not only is the elder brother, if you remember in those times, the elder brother's word was law, right? The younger brother had to simply do whatever the elder brother said. That was how it was at that time. So Krishna is obviously not going to do what Balaram tells him to do because he knows he's asking him to do a stupid thing. So the way he used to play with him is something worth seeing. One example was, okay, so the war is declared. Okay, and our friend Balram, on whose side he wants to fight? He wants to fight on the side of Duryodhana. He's wanting to fight. Means in the sense he says, I can't choose between them. Duryodhana is my student, which he was. I can't fight against Duryodhana. And he wasn't also very clear that the Pandavas who were the right side. So how Krishna brought it around that finally Balaram went on a Tirtha Yatra. So he wasn't involved in the war only. Okay, so it's like Akal Badi ki bhains sort of thing. The other person has the power, but you have the right understanding of what is to be done. So if your intellect is really so sharp, you should be able to deal with this other person. What happens is we tend to get our ego involved and say, how dare you tell me what to do? When I think this thought, my mind is agitated, my intellect cannot think, I cannot deal with the person because now I am involved. So to use your intellect means that you are not involved in the situation. In the sense, you're not affected by that situation. So now your next question will be, so how will I not be involved? This person is dictating things to me. How on earth can I not be involved? Okay, it's not easy. None of this is easy. But then whoever told you life is going to be easy? Did anyone promise you that before sending you here? Nobody has promised you that. So get used to tough things. You have a tough situation, you have to learn to deal with it. Now, how do you not get involved? You can get a get a sort of hint from the question itself. The question says the other person is dictatorial, he doesn't have values, this, that, so many complaints against the other person. Okay, so a good way of not getting our mind agitated is teaching ourselves to see the whole human being. He has these negative qualities and he has these positive qualities. And irritating as he may be, he has those positive qualities. And I have to somehow force my own mind to see this. Because when somebody is irritating the heaven out of me, then I can't see what's good in them. Okay, so I hope that helps, Kavita. I'll just briefly summarize what I said. The question is, how do I deal with the dictatorial person? Step one, if his dictates are correct, follow. If his dictates are not correct, think of a way of circumventing it. That is, use your intellect, how you can intelligently circumvent this particular instruction, or make it such that this person cannot actually give you that instruction. Okay, so this is where your intellect comes into play. And you can read the stories of Krishna and Balaram to see how many ways and how many times Krishna has done this. All right. Now, why we are not able to do it, why our intellect doesn't function, is because we take these instructions personally. Nobody likes to be given instructions. No mind likes it. And the moment you give a mind instructions, it gets upset, gets irritated. It's, how dare you talk to me like that? So as long as that happens, your intellect doesn't function. So how do you make your intellect function? Calm the mind down. How do you calm the mind down? See the good in the other person as well. In other words, see the whole person, the good and the bad. And then you'll be able to deal with the person, because often you can use the good characteristics in a person to draw them away from their bad ones.
Thank you, ma'am. This sure helps. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, shall we go to the next question? Radhika. Radhika, are you there? Not there? Okay, then we just go to the next question.
We had 3 questions, Janki ji. So if anybody else has a question here, then we can move ahead.
The questions are over now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So does anyone have a question? All right. So then we'll just continue with our normal class. Okay, so what were we doing? For those who may be here today and have not been attending the class previously, we are doing the 11th chapter of. Oh, Manoj, you have a question? Oh, please go ahead.
Hariom Janki. So, like regarding the last question only, like the answer we together. So when you, like you said, because we take it personally, we don't like listen to it. So taking it personally means taking it at the mind level.
Yes, means mind or ego. Mind is emotions. Ego is a sense of individuality. So either of these two we fall a prey to.
All right, and that is because maybe our intellect is at that point not that strong, and so we take it personally, and then that is where things start deteriorating.
That's right. We take it personally, so we get agitated. When we get agitated, our intellect doesn't function.
All right, right. Thank you.
Okay. So for those who are joining us for the first time today for this class, we are doing the Bhagavad Gita and we are in the 11th chapter. So we are doing this chapter, which is usually considered to be a very, very popular chapter, and quite surprisingly so, it is also interpreted in terms of the oneness of the supreme reality. You see, this chapter is usually touted to be like God as a form. But if you read it carefully, you can see that both are possible. You can see that form is possible. You can see that he's talking about the formless. You can see both. To which your question will naturally be, so is it form or is it formless? The answer to that question is very simple. Realize the self, you will find out for yourself. You don't need to have believe anybody about whether it's form or formless or what it is. Just read it and see that those who are sure that it is a form can also read it in the sense of the formless. That's a possibility. So read it for yourself. The verse 19, which we did, the 19th verse, which we did last time, Anadi Madhyam Anantam. Anadi Madhyam Anantam. There is no beginning, middle, or end. The basic of a form is there has to be a beginning, middle, and end. A form always starts somewhere, right? Suppose you say this body starts at my head, starts at my head and it ends at my feet. Or you say it starts at my left hand, ends at my right hand. Somewhere it has to have an end. Something you have to find, right? An end. It has to have a middle, a beginning, middle, and end. Something formless cannot have this. So he begins 19th verse by telling us that it is without beginning, middle, or end. Ananta Viryam, infinite in Virya. Virya means power, energy. How is it infinite in energy? Ananta Bahum, endless forms. Ananta Bahum means endless arms, so many arms. What does that mean, so many arms? So you'll see that you need not put that. Who is host today?
I'm hosting.
Sorry?
I'm hosting, Manish.
Manish, okay.
We need the verse on screen?
No, not necessary. This is a different, what shall I say, a translation.
This is a Kindle version of Swamiji's book.
Then do translation. Don't do the commentary.
Right.
Wasn't all this told to you?
No.
Okay. All right. You can just remove it then, because by the time everything is clear. So, Anadi Virya, Ananta Viryam, Ananta Bahum, many arms. What is many arms? You can imagine that he has so many arms. That's one way of doing it. Or you can think of many arms as everybody's arms are his arms. All the activity that is going on because of his power. It's like saying that all this phenomenon of light and fridge and washing machine, all this is going on with the power of electricity. It has Ananta Bahum, it has many arms, because all activity is powered by that one divinity. Shashi Surya Netram, his eyes are the sun and the moon. His eyes are the sun and the moon. It's referring to direct and indirect light. Light refers to knowledge. It is pure consciousness that backs every bit of knowledge. What is your knowledge if you're unconscious? It's all gone, right? So pure consciousness has to back all knowledge. It is the shining fire as mouth. The mouth is shining fire. This is a commonly used simile where the where Agni is supposed to be the mouth of the gods, because you put your oblations into the Agni and into the fire, and then the gods are supposed to receive it. So what does Agni represent? Agni represents a higher ideal, something nobler, something greater in life to achieve. It is light because it is truly knowledge that makes us understand that there is something higher. And to that higher thing, we give our oblations. Whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever we perceive, every single bit of it, we give as an oblation into that massive Havan Kund, as it were. I see you without beginning, middle, or end, infinite in power, with endless arms. The sun and moon is your eyes. Shining fire is mouth. Mouth also is an organ of action. So all your actions are dedicated to the higher cause, to Him, heating this universe with your radiance. So if you look at this verse completely, or we had seen earlier how He was shown to be Brahma, the creator. Then He is shown to be Vishnu, the maintainer, because all this maintains the goodness, the virtue, the activity, all of this maintains this universe. Okay, so verse 20. Dhyava pruthivyoridamantaram vyaptam tvayekena dishascha sarvaha दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन् ध्यावा पृथिव्योरिदनन्तरं हि व्याप्तं त्वयैकेन दिशश्च सर्वाः दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपमुग्रं तवेदं लोकत्रयं प्रव्यथितं महात्मन्. Dhyava Prithvi, the heaven, the sky, and the earth. Antaram, and all that is in between. Vyaptam Tvaya is pervaded by you. Ekena, only you. Ekena, by one, by you alone. The heavens and earth, this interspace, and all the quarters are pervaded by you alone. So what does that mean? It means the divinity is all pervading. There is no place where divinity is not. Anything all pervading obviously cannot have a form. Because as you know, a form has to end, but it is everywhere. So how can he have a form? Dhyava Prithvi, the heavens, the skies, and the earth, and Antaram, all in between. Everything is divinity and divinity alone. If we are able to perceive that, if we are able to understand that, then our mind is lifted up from our personality to our true personality, to who we really are. How then, if you can see this, how then would it be possible to get involved in anything that people say or do or whatever? You see this whole massive thing as one massive playground where there's a sport going on, as it were. There is a play going on, as it were. And you are part of that play. And you're having a very good time in the play. And you enjoy the play. But you have got nothing in the world to do with this play. Because your mind is fixed like super glue on something else. Therefore, this world loses its ability to agitate us, to disturb us. Just loses that ability. Failures and successes mean nothing. Praise and criticism means nothing. just not involved. So he says, having seen this marvelous and awful form of yours, the triple world trembles. If you understand this, he says, you tremble. So why would I tremble? You just said you have been so peaceful. Trembling is an interesting usage. It's an interesting usage. What do you mean tremble? So there's various ways we can understand this. This world as it exists is made up of laws. Endless laws. And these laws work meticulously. Absolutely meticulous. There's no exceptions, right? It's not that gravity somehow changes every now and then. Nothing. All of it is working meticulously. Now, when we go and perform some action there, one thing is definitely going to happen. The result of that action is going to come. So if you did your action well, you tremble in the awfulness of, in the awful majesty of it. Wow, how is that even possible? Okay, look, I put my hand in the fire and every single time it burns. Isn't that an amazing thing? I can work hard and do all the right thing and I get all the right results. It could never happen that I did all the right things and I got the wrong results. I got wrong results because I didn't do the right things. But if I did the right things, there is no way I'm getting a wrong result. And don't just stand in the absolute amazement and grandeur of that thing. How is it possible? I study, I learn. Fantastic thing, no? I don't study at all, not simple. And so you tremble in the sense of you look at it and you are aghast. Wow. Just think of it. Suppose, I don't know, suppose you drank water and your body never got hydrated. Then you could drink all the water in the world and you will still be dehydrated, right? But that doesn't happen. You drink water, you eat a carrot. The nutrition of that carrot comes into your blood. Some amazing things. You do the action, the effect comes. Now, so you tremble in the sense of, you stand aghast at it. If you do the wrong action, you tremble in the sense that you will be terrified. And that's what it teaches you. Be very careful not to do wrong action. Because you can't escape that result. Good action also you cannot escape result, and bad action also you cannot escape result. If you do it, you will get it. So the triple world trembles. Triple world means those who do good actions, those who do bad actions, those who do mediocre actions. Or you can take it as the heaven, earth, and hell, whichever one works for you. Okay, heaven, you can think good actions, earth, mediocre actions, hell, bad actions. They triple. So it's a very, very interesting thing that we all, whether we like it or not, have to align ourselves to those laws. If we try to get something without producing, nature will hit back at us. If we try to do a lot of work, but only for ourselves, mind is full of agitations. But when we work hard for a higher cause, we are not only successful, we are very happy and peaceful people. Distinctly, he told us this, he's given us so many laws. I'm just talking about the one he gave in chapter 3. He said the lowest kind of people, they want something without paying the price. Give me that kind of attitude. What more can I get from you? That kind of attitude. The good people give more than they receive. The bad people try to give as little as they can possibly get of you. But the thing is that whatever we choose to do, the result is going to come. So in that sense also trembling. Think of it like this. A man makes a car. Now, having made the car, he will have to follow the rules of that car. Otherwise, that car can damage him. You can be devastated by your own creation. Isn't that? So therefore, sensible people fear those laws. That is why Varuna, who is supposed to be the god in the Vedas of those laws, is a very frightening god. Like Moses of the Old Testament, very frightening. Moses is God, not Moses. Very frightening because they tell us about the laws. So the triple world trembles. Do not ignore the law of karma, for it will come to you, whether you like it or not. So at least you should know what you're doing, and then do it or not do it based on whatever you want. Okay, so verse 20 clear. Any questions with reference to verse 20? Or shall we move?
Jankiji, just a struggle with the word tremble for people who do the right action. I mean, over a period of time, the person doing positive action will see that good actions are reaping positive results. So it will be the opposite of tremble, right? He'll have faith in them.
Yes, that is correct. He'll have faith in them, but trembling in the sense of standing in awe or something. You know, like you stand aghast, right? Suppose, okay, see the other way around. That you, I don't know, give me some example. Who will give me an example? You sort of studied English, okay? You sat down, you studied, you did all that you need to know English. And after you've done all this sort of thing, at the end of it, you can't speak a word. Is this possible?
No chance.
No chance, right? Now, when this happens, okay, I learned English very well. I put in all the effort, I did all the thing, and now I speak English very well. You see what I just said? I studied English, I put in all the effort, and now I speak English very well. Is something missing here? The reason I can speak English well is because the law of causation worked. We take that for granted. The good people, the spiritual sadhaks, they appreciate that. You can do all the good work in the world, but unless the law of causation works, you won't get the result. So it's gratitude for that law. It's standing in reverence toward that law. So in that sense, tremble. In our life, we don't see it all our time. We say, you see any self-made businessman, what will he say? Oh, I went through this challenge, I went through that trouble, and then I did this and I did that, and then this happened. I did this and this, and this, and then this happened. Nobody sees there's something happening in between over here, called the law of causation. And so if you are acutely aware of what is going on, you would not think so much about what I did, but the fact that it worked. Suppose, take the opposite. Suppose I work very hard in an office and the boss is just not fair. And he never gives me my promotion no matter how much I work. Then I'll criticize that boss. But if I do get the promotion, then I don't say what a fair boss. Then I say I did the hard work. Is that clear?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Anybody else has anything else? I mean, it's a nice point that Bharat brought out, because we seem to miss that besides all my work, there's a whole universe going on here. Just absolutely miss that fact. And why do we miss that fact? Why do we miss it?
Janki-ji, the point of law of causation is very well taken.
One
In
second, can you first answer my question, then we'll take yours.
Sorry.
Why do we miss it?
We get carried away doing our own thing.
Okay. Kalyan, because of ego, okay.
Our involvement.
Okay, you can say that.
We don't see it as oneness.
Okay, too involved with ourselves. Okay, you can say all of these things, but think about it. You are breathing all the time. You're alive because you're breathing. Do you ever say, thank God I'm breathing? Never say that, right? Yes, Asha, you're right. We do not notice the law of causation because it is always there. It never goes wrong. And that is the wonder of it all. It just never goes wrong. You try doing anything, see how many times you will make a mistake. The law of causation just never goes wrong. And it is so meticulous that you don't even notice it. Like oxygen, it's always there, right? Did it ever happen in your life that oxygen got switched off? No, human beings, they can switch the electricity off. And they make all sorts of mistakes and our electricity goes. And then sometimes internet goes. All these things happen. So whatever happens, has oxygen ever gone? Constant supply. So when you say your prayers and you say thank God, then do you say thank God for oxygen? You don't say thank God for oxygen because
Taken for granted.
it's always there. Yeah, it's taken for granted because it's always there.
Yeah.
It's just always there. Why are mothers and what they do for us ignored? Because it's always there. There's no error taking. Okay, so that is what we are standing in aghast. That is what we are like saying, wow, what a fantastic phenomenon is this. If I do the right thing, I will get the result. And if I do the wrong thing, I will get the result. And there is something governing this fantastic thing. Yeah, Deepak, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. Janki-ji, my question was an extension of what you said, that when you work hard, you get it, we don't notice because it's always there and we are lost in ourselves, etc., etc. Now, when we work very hard, and the boss, in the example that you said, no matter how hard we have worked according to us, we are still not getting the results. How does one process that part? You know, because obviously from a philosophical point of view, we are still not doing the right thing because there is something that we are not doing right, because that's why the results have not come. How do you pinpoint what is the wrong thing that you are doing? And also the fact that it could be a carry forward of your past actions, which you cannot at this point of time correlate to.
It depends on the situation. I mean, it's difficult to give a general answer because it's always easy to tell what are the right things to do. It's always a lot more difficult to say what are the wrong things to do, because human beings have creativity which is beyond comparison. Their capacity to come up with wrong ways of doing things is unparalleled. It's something to stand aghast at. So you can, I mean, so any amount of wrong things are possible. The other day I told my maid, make sambar. And I took out the dal and I gave it to her. I said, make it of so much. And put the other vegetables in, I said. Right? Doesn't sound like a complicated instruction. So she put in I told her put all the other vegetables in. So what did she do? She put into it bell peppers, broccoli, and all sorts of things. I don't know, Deepak, if you even understand this example.
I can
Sambar
relate to
doesn't-
it. I can relate to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so sambar doesn't have any of these things.
Yeah.
But I had told her put all the other vegetables in. And so she put in every vegetable that she could find in the fridge and made a gigantic dish like for like 10 people. Only 2 of us in the house. Okay, so you can tell people the right way to do things, but the wrong way to do it, human beings are so creative that any amount of variations they can do. Hence, it's difficult to answer that if a man is working very hard in office and he's not getting the results, what exactly he's doing wrong. So it's difficult. We need a lot more data to be able to say that. And as for your other point, that it's because of past actions, it is always because of past actions. But what does that sentence mean? I think this is a very important point, and I'm glad we are getting to discuss it in class. Is a big belief in India that my past actions are giving me this bad result I'm getting today. This is a correct thing. People are saying it right, but they're not getting what it means. Your past actions, everybody's past actions, have created certain vasanas, certain patterns of behavior. Those patterns of behavior are in existence today. It's not like I did something terrible, which I'm not doing now, but I'm still getting results. I mean, there is a small bit of that, but 99% of it is whatever stupidity I had in the past, I have it today. And that stupidity is making me act. So if I correct my today's stupidity, I will get my results. And the part about, I did one action somewhere and I'm going to get result now, that is a very, very tiny percentage of less than 1% on the grounds that, like suppose in the past, there's a clinic where I go to for therapy, and one boy comes there and he's also for therapy, and he's this lovely young boy, very charming, very nice little boy. I mean, he must be what, 20 or 22, 23, I don't know how old he is. Very lovely person. But he has, in his, few years ago, taken out his bike and done what these bikers do, driven very fast, met with an accident, and years have passed, surgeries later, he's still not able to walk properly, which is what he's coming for therapy for. Now, that one act is continuing, okay? But there isn't much in our life that's happening out of a one act. For him, it is continuing because his act was like that. But we must not attribute to past acts. We must attribute to what is my today's stupidity. Forget about my past. Whatever I've done now, little bit, some continuity will be there. But today I'm acting idiotically somewhere, somehow, because of which I'm not getting my results. Okay.
Yeah, that helps.
Somebody else have something.
Sorry, just one thing. The general kind of folklore stories that you hear in India is that, say Shravan Kumar got into a situation because of past actions and so on and so forth. Parents, they were born blind because of the past action. So this one-on-one correlation, that not one-on-one in that sense, but there is a act that you do, and then the fruit may accrue later on. How does one process that? The fact that whatever are our past actions are giving us our vasanas, and therefore that is making us act. So therefore our current actions in that sense are attributed to the past. That point is very well understood. But this thing about saying that there is a karmic balance which kind of separated over time fructifies, how does one process that in this context of the law of causation being totally precise?
I mean, there will be few things that have continuity like that, like this poor boy, this lovely child I was telling you about. Such a nice person. I mean, very good looking, very charming. I mean, like from obviously a well-to-do family, like everything going for him, right? except now he can't walk without assistance. So many boys from the same thing, have driven bikes, have made accidents. I know another boy did exactly the same thing, met with an accident, broke his collarbone. Then he had to be rushed to hospital, which he was in ICU. They put something over here. It still hurts him a little, but for all practical purposes, he is fine. He's just continuing his normal life. And of course, his parents obviously went for a full toss when he was in such a bad condition, but it is fine and he's okay. And this other boy who looks equally nice seems to have a much longer term repercussion of it. How would you explain that? You explain that by attributing it to something in the past, because presently you can't see a difference. So there are things which are like that, and especially if you have some really strong action that you have performed in the past, there is a continuity. So it's no difficulty in saying that there is continuity. The point was that we attribute too much to that continuity. That is there, less than 1%. The rest of it is all the nonsense we are doing today. Is that okay?
Yeah, point well taken. Thank you.
Bhisham Kumar Karmani. How to control parasthiti? I think you mean parasthiti. Parasthiti. I mean others' thoughts related to us. Where are you, Bhisham Kumar? Okay. So, Bhisham Kumar, your question is also very Bhisham, because how do we ever control other people's thoughts related to us? The answer is you can't. If we can control our own thoughts, that's a wonderful thing. But trying to control, firstly, our thoughts we can't control, other people's thoughts. But if you do want to control other people's thoughts, then the only way to do it is to control your own. Control your own means the more you work with a sensible and unselfish intent, the more you can make yourself be sensible and unselfish, the more will other people align their thoughts to yours. But first we have to control ourselves. You can't say, I don't want you to think bad of me. There will always be people thinking bad of us. But if we can be sensible and if we can be unselfish, we can reduce it. Say, I don't want you to steal from me. Reference to us, we can't. कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना, छोड़ो बेकार की बातें. But there is only one answer. Control your own thoughts and others will align their thoughts to yours. Okay? Or totally dissatisfactory answer, no? I do realize that often the answers will be sounding terrible. Are you okay for whatever it's worth?
Okay.
Yes or no? So let's continue. Sorry? Okay. So anything else, or shall we continue to verse 21? Okay, verse 21. Amihitvam surasangan vishanti केचित् भीता प्राञ्जलो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्गाः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः अमीहि त्वां सुरसङ्घा विशन्ति केचित् भीता प्राञ्जलो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्गाः स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः अमीहित surasangaha. These surasangaha, this sura is the god, sangaha, the whole sangha, the host of gods, all the gods. Vishanti kechit, they enter you. Kechit bhitaha, some are frightened. Pranjalayoha, pranjalayaha. Pranjalayaha means doing namaste with joint palms. Grunanti swasti iti. They say swasti. Swasti means may it be well. Maharshi Siddha Sangaha, all the great sages and the siddhas. Stutibhi Pushkalabhihi, with beautiful hymns. Tvam Stuvanti, they praise you. So, what is he saying? Verily, into you enter these hosts of gods. Some in fright extol you with joint palms. May it be well. Thus saying, bands of great sages and siddhas praise you with beautiful hymns. So now he's explaining what we have already done in the past verse. The two types of people who say some bhitaha, some are frightened, and some stuvanti, they praise you, depending on what kinds of people they are, depend on your mental constitution. Imagine there's a very strict boss. Some people praise him, some people criticize him. Who praises him and who criticizes him? Very strict boss. Some praise him, appreciate him, respect him. Some criticize him. Now, which kinds of people will do this? Who are the two types of people?
Those who do their work and those who don't.
Yes, very good. Those who do their work properly are very happy with the strict boss. Those who don't do their work properly are very unhappy with the strict boss. Suppose we are following traffic rules very well. We're very happy, right? If the police are maintaining those rules. But if we are the type of people who don't
We can't hear.
okay? Is it okay now? Yeah, okay, thanks. So, what did you all hear up to, or it was all gone?
The traffic cop.
Traffic rules.
Okay. So up to, so more or less, okay. So when it comes to understanding the nature of causation, some people will be very happy with it because they've done all the right things. They will praise it. They'll say, oh, wonderful thing it is. And those who are, they know what they have studied, what they have done. They will say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Same, na? Like in exams, the students who have studied, they're very happy to have it corrected properly because they did it properly. They put in all that. But those who not studied properly, they're very happy with teachers who don't correct properly because they themselves haven't put in the effort. So some with right extol you. Some say, may it be well, may it be well. Obviously the sages and siddhas are those on the right track, and the others are on the wrong track. Fear is often caused by ignorance. That is why some people seem to be very frightened of God, because they don't have knowledge of what it is. They're like, they're more worried about consequences. They describe God as being, like quite revengeful or hateful and throwing you into some horrible hell. And they believe this is all pretty literally true. So they say their prayers because they think that if I don't say my prayers or I don't do my rituals, then God will just throw me into some horrible hell till eternity. All this derives out of ignorance of the facts of life. And as you gain knowledge, you lose that fear. That's why it refers to the sages and the siddhas, because these are the knowledgeable people. Suppose you go to the doctor and the doctor says you have a murmur in your heart. Then you are like, oh my God, what? So frightened. What are you frightened about? Because you don't know what is that even supposed to mean. But suppose another doctor hears it and knows what is the cure for it. He doesn't get frightened. So where there's knowledge, there's no fear. Therefore, the sages and the siddhas praise you with beautiful hymns. They say, may it be well, swasti. They say swasti, may it be well. And then, may it be well. You notice that when you say may it be well, what are you not saying? Do you notice anything there? What are you not saying when you say may it be well? What are you not saying? Okay, what do you normally say if you go to the temple or church or mosque, if you're in the presence of God? What will you say normally?
Take care of me.
Take care of me. Always it's about me, right? Take care of me. Or max, take care of my family. Or take care of my community. Something we will say. Here it says, may it be well. It's a general feeling of welfare for everybody. The general welfare. But not particularly interested in anybody, yourself or your little group. May it be well. May it be well for everybody and all things and all beings. For everybody, may it be well. My prayers should be for everybody, right? Why should it be just for me? So swasti means may it be well. It just may it be well. There's no direction to that prayer. Everybody, in all ways, at all times. There's no end to that. So verily into you enter these hosts of gods, some in fright extol you with joined palms. Why are the hosts of God so frightened of him? You can take it in either of the two ways. One is these gods are usually up to some hanky-panky. You must have heard the stories. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is the gods are usually into enjoyments. So that people who are deeply into enjoyments, you'll notice always are frightened of God somehow. Because they know that I've spent all my life enjoying only. So not that there's anything wrong in enjoyment, but as a singular aim of life. So that's the other way of looking at it. And the third way of looking at it is if you take them as gods in the sense of the good people, so then the fright is in the way we have spoken of earlier. Okay, so verse 21 clear? It's quite easy. All these verses are quite easy. So, we can afford to go through them pretty much quickly. Okay, so that's it for today. See you again.
Can I ask a personal question?
Yeah, sure.
Madam, I'm on dialysis for last 3 years. I have completed more than 400 dialysis. The average life of a person above the age of 70 is 350 dialysis. Even the doctors are surprised because I've had my heart operation and kidney failure. So what I do, and I still have 3 days a week dialysis, 6 hours. Now, for the balance time, I'm not able to find a way what I should do. I do keep my readings and other things. I get up early, but I still find that I'm not finding anything which may be useful maybe next life, because 400 dialysis is less than 2% of aged people over 70.
Well, I suggest you forget about these figures because these figures mean nothing. My mother was on dialysis for years and she started her dialysis after the age of 82. She passed away at a much later age. So I suggest you forget about these figures. They mean nothing. It's a bit like marriage. In marriage, these people say, oh, you should have X and Y and Z. Agar अच्छा लड़का कमारा हो और he's very good looking और लड़की slim है या tall है या यहाँ की है या वहाँ पढ़ी हुई है, studied here or you are this rich, and all these are supposed to be the good characteristics for marriage, and then people will be interested in marrying. Frankly, you don't need all those types of good characteristics, because all you need in marriage is to convince one person. Whether the whole world thinks you're fantastic for marriage or not, how does it matter? One person has to think and then you're through, right? Similarly, in this medical science, all that thing only tells us that some people are like this, some people are like that. Ignore those numbers, ignore it completely, and think to yourself, but what can I do? Nothing to do with anything else. Just what would you like to do? In what way would you like to serve? And just do it. Ignore everything else. This belief that now I have so much time to live because I have cancer or I have this or I have that or I have a heart problem is so wrong, because none of us know, not a single person in this class knows whether we will live one single second longer or not. At any time, a probability of not surviving this second is always 50%, regardless of everything else. People who don't have any ailment pass away at the age of 20. What are you going to say? So let's not worry about these numbers that are given to us, the stats and all. Just ignore it. Only question to you is, what would you like to do? How would you like to serve? And whatever that method is, you go ahead.
I'm trying to do that only.
Oh, then that's
I have
fine.
completed 1 lakh rupees to Vedanta Society recently.
Okay. Wonderful.
And I'm also doing it for some other schools. I've donated about 15 computers to a school.
Wonderful.
I'm trying to do whatever I can, but the doctors are more worried than I am.
Yeah, just ignore all that makes and which you are doing, just ignore it. Just think of what you can do. Now you have given some finances, which is wonderful, given that you may also be feeling that I don't know how many more years I have to spend on the dialysis. So it's a great sacrifice, but also think of what you can do, actually do. So if you take that next step, that would be fantastic. And always, remember that great Christopher Reeves, he was paralyzed from neck downwards. And he spent his life in bed and he served so much. But luckily, we are not in that position. We can serve. So what can we actually do? I mean, with our own physical body, with our mind, with our intellect. And let's do it, whatever it is.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Hari Om.